thought I would give you a tour of what is in my freezer from my garden, as well as the food pantry that my neighbors have provided me today. To start with, we have got up here kale, and this is kale rolls from my garden. And my intention for these are the large leaves are going to be stuffed with a recipe that I found on Pinterest. So I froze the leaves so they would be pliable to roll them when I stuff them. So I'll be making a recipe with that. Then I've got some pesto here that I made from my garden. I use the basil from my garden in the pestos that I make. This is zucchini shredded for 2-cup portions. I know there's a lot of plastic in here. Don't beat me up over that. It's the easiest way to store stuff in this tiny freezer that I have. But I do have some vegan pesto here and some roasted cherry tomato pesto here. And the basil from for all the pesto is from my garden that I grow. The next thing I have is all of these, which are diced tomatoes. I package them in 15-ounce weights, so when I make vegan chilies and stews, instead of using a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes, I'll use these first, and I will use the diced tomatoes that I get from the food pantry when I'm ready and out of these. It does take a lot of room up in my freezer, however, it's the best that I could do with the tomatoes that I have, and I have been getting buckets full of tomatoes from my garden. It's slowly but surely slowing down now. Here I have got a vegan Primavera Mistura, which is kind of new to me, but I am going to try it. It's microwavable. It's a steam bag. My neighbor gave it to me today, so I'll try that. I'm always up for trying new things. And then over here are white onions. And what I do when I go to the food pantry is I ask for onions, and when I get them, I bring them home and I dice them. I put the date, as you can see, this is from last year, but they're still good. I break off a piece for however the portion should be, if it's 1 onion or 2 onions, in my soups and stews, and then I just defrost this right into the pan. The cherry tomatoes you see here and here are for a recipe by Pioneer Woman that I make, and it's using goat cheese, which I got from the food pantry as well here. So I'll use 1 goat cheese and 1 package of tomatoes, roast them with some spices that are from my garden as well. So it's basically a free item because I do get the spaghetti noodles from my food pantry. So everything ends up being free. On this shelf here, in this area, is my frozen smoothie items, which here is blueberries, bananas, and kale. So when I get the kale from the food pantry, I smush it up into a gallon bag and freeze it so it doesn't go bad, and I can put it in my smoothies. And if everything is too frozen, I just kind of nuke it for about 20 to 30 seconds, and it softens it up to make in my blender, because I don't have a large Vitamix blender. I just have a small cheap blender. And down here, don't shoot me, but I do have some turkey, ground turkey. I got 2 rolls that I got from the ladies, my neighbors from the food pantry today. So I will make maybe spaghetti pie with these or another recipe with these. I usually try to keep my meats to at least once per month, and the rest is vegan or vegetarian recipes. Right here, I got, my neighbors know I'm vegetarian, so they give me a lot of vegetables. This I got, which was not frozen at the time, but it is broccoli, carrots, cauliflower, washed and ready to eat, organic from the food pantry. And so I will probably roast that with some spices and olive oil. And let's see, put this up here. Down here I have got some spinach, and I will make a recipe with the spinach. This is from my garden as well. Here is a recipe I made from Pinterest called Tuscan White Bean Skillet. It was really good. It had kale in it, white beans, and sun-dried tomatoes. So it was, and then I think it had artichoke hearts in it as well. So I really liked this recipe. It was very, very good. These are my ice packs that I use. Back there is hemp hearts. I freeze anything with an oil base, for example, walnuts or hemp hearts or flaxseed. I freeze so it doesn't go rancid while I use it. And then down here is another set of onions that I cut up and froze. So like when I'm done with the ones here, there was a little bit left here, I will save this bag, reuse it, and then start on this bag. And I reuse most of the bags in my fridge, or freezer, and fridge, over and over again. But for example, the pestos, I don't tend to reuse those because I can't wash them out as well, and olive oil will go rancid. So I'm careful with that. But as far as with my bananas, I will say I reuse this bag over and over and over again. If I get kale, I will reuse this bag, so I am careful with that. Over here is my essential oil pills. And then here is, waiting for fall, my 3 cups of apple cider. I have got a recipe that I make from Make It Dairy Free. They have a recipe for an apple chili that calls for apple cider. So I save that, and I'm ready for fall. And then here is ground flaxseed. Like I said, I like to keep this frozen so it doesn't go rancid. And these are the cherry tomatoes we talked about. In the fridge, I have got eggs, and then my glass that I use for water, and we have hard water, so it's got stains on it. Here, like I said, I reuse these bags. This is my mint and lemon balm, and I add these to my tea. They come directly from my garden. And I got another bag of kale here, which is why I froze the other one. And I'll use that for recipes or wraps. And then I've got a little bit of kale pesto that I got from a recipe from Pinterest. So the kale and the basil are all from the garden. The walnuts are from the food pantry. So I've got all of that. And then this is Olay Extreme Wellness Wraps, which I will put hummus and maybe some kale or cucumbers or tomatoes and make myself a sandwich. All of these cucumbers here are from my garden. Back there is iceberg lettuce, which is from the food pantry from my neighbor. Also got these tortillas from my neighbor. I might make like a vegetarian taco out of those. Then I also got romaine lettuce and a green pepper, as well as some carrots from the food pantry. And then in the back here is more walnuts. And then from the food pantry from my neighbor, I got some peaches, and they are to die for. cherry tomatoes from the garden. I'm actually going to make a Parmesan Ranch noodle salad with the tomatoes and the cucumbers, and that'll be dinner tomorrow night. And then I've got a bucket. Like I said, I've been getting buckets of tomatoes, so this is my bucket from my last haul from the garden, which I think unfortunately is going to be my last haul for the season, as the plants are kind of not producing like they used to. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you'd like a tour of my pantry, I would be more than happy to show you what I do and how I organize that as well throughout the months as I get stuff from the food pantry. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Thank you and have a blessed day.